चलिए. The last part of this topic is law of conservation of momentum. Now, this topic is very important because most of the questions that you find in your theory are usually related to law of conservation of momentum. Law of conservation of momentum says that the total momentum before and after a collision is equal. So it means if I have two objects, this is object number one, this is object number two, and their momentums before, this is before collision, and this is after, they should be equal to each other. I'm assuming that the object number two is also after collision, it's going to move towards the right. So over here, we come up with a very beautiful formula. So ये मेरा favorite formula भी है इस chapter का. That is, and it's pretty long as well. M1U1 plus M2U2 is equal to M1V1 plus M2V2. Now, what does this formula state? What does it represent? It represents that the initial momentum, because as you can see, we have the initial velocity. U1 and U2 are the initial velocities of object number one and object number two. And this represents the final momentum. Now, one thing that you guys need to know is that this 1 and 2 are written in subscript. These are not mathematical values. What do I mean by subscript? Subscript इसको कहते हैं हम लोग subscript. It's not part of M1. मतलब this is not like a mathematical value. It just represents that this mass is of object number one. Do you guys get this? ये ना आप में से कोई 2 की कोई वैल्यू पुट कर ले कि ये 2 लिखा हुआ है सर ने तो you guys start putting in the value, substituting in the value. Is this clear? Okay, so if this is clear, now we can write M1 is mass of object 1 and M2 same thing of object number 2. U1 initial velocity of object 1 and U2 is initial velocity of object number 2. Then we have V1 is final velocity of object 1 and V2 is final velocity of object 2. Note this down. This is very important so you guys do not mess this up, okay? Whenever you find U in any question, you see the initial velocity that represents U, or U represents the initial velocity and V represents the final velocity. Always, always, always. लिख लिया? चलें. Now let's do a question. I have a 2 kg object. It's traveling towards the right with 3 meters per second. And then I have a 4 kg object that is traveling towards the left with a speed of 7 meters per second. They collide and the 2 kg object starts moving towards the right with 2 meters per second towards the left, and the 4 kg object starts to move towards the left with a speed of 3 meters per second. Okay, The question is find, so we have to find this, okay? Find V2, which is the final velocity of this 4 kg object. Okay? Now, the first step is I'm going to write the formula. This is the longest formula in your entire OA level physics. M1 is going to be, we're going to assume that this is M1, this is M2, this is U1, this is U2, this is again M1, this is again M2, this is V1, and this is V2, what we are trying to find, okay? The velocity of the other object, second object. So M1 is going to be 2, U1 is going to be positive 3 plus 4 into negative 7. Now, a lot of students they make this mistake that they do not assign this sign, okay? They forget to add this direction. And you guys will not forget, inshallah ta'ala. यही बात है कि no matter how much I repeat this, you guys will mess this up. This is like very common. Then M1 again is gonna be 2. Then the speed over here is minus 2 plus M2, which is 4, and then into V2. Now, we do not add a positive or a negative sign, okay? We do not add a positive or negative sign for V2. Even if we know that V2 is going towards the left, we do not add the sign. Why? I'm going to let you know in a while. So, this is going to be 6, positive 6. This is going to be negative 28. This is going to be negative 4. And this is going to be positive 4V2. So, if we solve these, this is going to be minus 22 minus 4 plus 4V2 minus 18 over 4 is equal to V2, and V2 is equal to minus 4.5 meters per second. Basic math, you guys can solve this. So now, what does this minus 4.5 represent, kiddos? What does this represent? This represents the speed. 4.5 is your speed, and this negative sign represents your velocity. कि इसकी direction, if मैंने अगर ये पहले इधर नहीं बनाया होता. So now we know that this object also travels towards the left with a speed of minus 4.5. So this minus represents this speed, this direction, and this is again the magnitude and your unit. Is this question clear? I know it's confusing to say the least. Start में बच्चों को थोड़ी सी issue होता है इसमें, but I'm sure you guys will understand this sooner or later. समझ आ गई ना? चलें, नोट भी कर लिया. अब एक क्वेश्चन आप लोग सॉल्व कर लें. दैट्स गोना बी लास्ट क्वेश्चन फॉर टुडे. Guys, I want you guys to find V2. Again, I'm going to write the formula down for your ease. जल्दी से सॉल्व करें। And we're just gonna substitute some values. It's gonna start with 2 into positive 3 plus 3 into negative 5 is equal to 2 into negative 1 plus 3 into V2. So this is going to be 6 minus 15 is equal to minus 2 plus 3v2. It's going to be minus 9 over here, minus 9, and then there's going to be another plus 2. So 7 is equal to 3v2, and v2 is equal to positive what? 2.66 meters per second. So we know that this object is going to go towards this direction with a positive speed of 2.66 kg meters per second. Sorry, meters per second, not kg meters per second. We just found out the velocity, not the momentum. Oh, and sorry, my bad, my bad. A negative sign. Negative sign, negative sign. So we're just going to change the direction and it's going to be minus 2.66. Okay, kiddos? Easy. And I hope this topic is clear as well. This is pretty much all of momentum that we just covered in today's class. We're going to start with the questions tomorrow. Anything else? I hope this is clear.